Hi, I am here to talk to you about my retreat to Costa Rica. So I announced it, like all the final preparations and final pricing, I guess at the end of last month. And since then, people have been calling me and signing up, and it's getting so exciting to really think about having you all there and what we're going to do. So it's hard to explain really the magic of Costa Rica and the magic of doing a retreat. It is absolutely amazing and I love it. So the last time I did a retreat was right before COVID, the November before COVID. So it was really good timing. None of us realized it then, but yeah, it was definitely a blessing. And really what I loved, besides the fact being in nature and an immersive environment and really stepping away from the day-to-day and all that kind of thing that's really obvious, is that for me as a facilitator, it's like my chance to really show you both the theory and the practice at the same time in the same place. And there is something that happens when you can immediately put the theory to practice and it works. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about how that happens and share a story with you from the last time we went to Costa Rica. So the region that we're going is around Uvita, which is the southern Pacific coast of Costa Rica. And it's in an area that has this famous formation off the coast that's known as the whale tail. And so at low tide, there is a coastline that looks like a whale tail, and that the end of the, like the wide part of the whale tail is all rock, right? And then it kind of goes in and there's like a little isthmus of sand that goes to the main coastline. And during the high tide, it's all covered in water, right? And it just looks like a normal coastline. But then at low tide, the tide goes out and this walkway to this rock area that then goes out into the ocean is revealed, right? So that in and of itself is pretty cool. And for me, I love that. And I love sharing that with people because it means you have to be in rhythm with nature. You have to be aware of when is it high tide and when is it low tide and what does that mean and how does that affect the environment around you? Because, like tide pools don't happen on demand. You can't just like Google it up on your phone, right? Like you have to wait for the low tide in order to see these amazing formations that happens. And so being in that rhythm and having that be part of your pattern, for most of us city goers, that's a new thing. That's a different kind of thing. And it shifts your awareness and it shifts your perspective pretty dramatically. That's just the little intro and first part. So the real story is when we're out at this whale tail, right? Like when we're out at this rock formation. And I put a little video in the newsletter so that you can really see what it looks like. I did shoot a video. And so, it's hard to tell how big the rock formation that goes to the far end of the whale tail when you're on the sand side. You can't really see where the water meets the rock. And so, and because the tide goes in and out, there's no path, right? Like there's no one path that everybody walks to go out to the edge of the whale tail, right? It just re-envisions itself every tide. Amazing in and of itself. And so one of my more adventurous members of the retreat, participants in the retreat, was like, ooh, I want to go see what's at the edge of the whale tail. Like, that's cool. And like these tide pools are really cool. And so she starts out and lo and behold, there is no path. And it's really hard to like mentally figure out where your feet need to go and what you need to do to get to the far end of the whale tail. And this is what I do, right? How do we walk the path that's unknown? How do we choose the next best step? This is where we are in life. This is where everyone is, right? Because things are changing, things are new, things are different. And we want different things. Maybe we've had things revealed to us. We have things shown to us. We have new things coming up all the time. And so maybe what we want is different and we don't know how to get there. We don't know what the path is. And the truth is, you have to walk your own path. You have to find your own path. That the path that is true for you isn't the path that's true for 50,000 other people. It is your path that you walk, designed by you, meant for you. And so how do you do that, right? Like, we all go to school. You know, I spent a great deal of money on my education to figure out what the rules of the road in society are, what the rules of the road of corporate world are, and how you walk those paths successfully. And yet for me, that wasn't my path, right? Like, that wasn't the right path for me. And so I had to learn how you walk that path. And so I have this technique that I teach both my private clients, my coaching clients, my group coaching clients, as well as the people who go on retreat with me. And for me, it's one of the most powerful things that we learn and discover and practice on retreats, because, you know, when you're in a new place, you're in a foreign country, you don't know what the rules are, you don't know what the paths are, you don't know the best way to go. You only know what's right for you and what your intuition tells you and what works. And so here she is. She goes out on this rock path. She's being adventurous. She's like trying it out. It's like, okay, I want to see more. I want to like experience this cool thing in Costa Rica, right? And she comes back after a little bit. I'm like, well, how was it? Like, she was like, you know, Dana, it was really hard to get to the other side and it was just too much. I couldn't do it. And I was like, okay, wait a second. Did you use the process that we learned? Did you go through bit by bit on each step to find the next best step for you? And, you know, what's beautiful when you're out in nature, and what's beautiful when nature like recreates itself every tide, is that like you do have to look for every step. You do have to be that aware to look and see with your awareness and with your intuition where the next best step is, right? And she was like, no, Dana, I didn't do that. I just, you know, it was just overwhelming once I got out there and it was exhausting. And so I just came back. And so I was like, okay, well, try again and remember the process that we've worked on. Remember this step-by-step way to find your path to where you want to go. And so she did. And like, she got almost to the very edge, like way further than she had before. And she was so proud of herself that she could see the end of the whale tail and the ocean in front of her. And that was so cool too. And it's, you know, honestly, it's very rewarding. Nature is very rewarding because there you are, like on the very edge of the Pacific Ocean, feeling the waves. And you know, not that many people get out there. Not that many people make it that far. Not that many people have that kind of experience. And it was so empowering to be able to use this technique and really trust your intuition and trust your inner knowing and trust that there is another step that's going to get you where you need to go. You may not see the 100 steps that are going to get you to your goal, but each step you will be shown the way. Each step, if you pay attention, you will find the next best step. And if you're paying attention, you're going to find all the cool tide pools and little animals and little urchins that are along your way that make the journey even more fun and even more memorable. So, you know, it is just the coolest thing to really learn that, experience that, and be like, oh, okay, this is actually a process that I can bring back with me. Like, as I'm trying to do this new thing, as I'm trying to introduce these new things into my life, as I'm trying to start these new habits, as I want more out of my life, more happiness, more joy, more sensation, more feeling, more life experience, I know that it can happen. And I trust that if I can listen to myself and I can really pay attention and have the courage to trust what my intuition tells me and trust my inner guidance and take that next step that I'm being guided to take, I will reach my goal. And I know I will reach my goal. That is absolutely life-changing. And it is so fun to share that. It's so fun to see all of you experience it. It's so fun to see you play with it. And then it's so fun to see you go back in your world and do it differently. And maybe it's just a little differently. Maybe it's a lot differently. But to really embody what your experience is of more life and more joy and more fun and more adventure, and feel that power and be able to take that into your day-to-day life. Like, that is the most amazing part of Costa Rica. And let me tell you, there are so many other amazing parts. So hopefully that sparks your interest, and hopefully that's inspiring. And if you have any questions, just direct message me or set up a call. I'm happy to share more about the details of the retreat, pre-retreat things, what you need to know about the retreat center, about the accommodations. You know, I'm gonna post more information about the adventures and other things we're gonna be doing. So keep your ear out and sign up soon, because the rooms are going fast. All right, I look forward to seeing you in Costa Rica. Take care.